Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. This is your time to relax, to slow down, and to let English flow into your mind naturally. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to stay alert or focus too much. You can simply listen, breathe, and let the words become part of you. In this session, I will read you a sentence. After each sentence, I will gently explain some important words. I will use very simple English to explain them, so you can understand without stress. If you like, you can imagine the scenes in your mind as if you are watching a soft movie in your dreams. You don't need to remember every single word right now. Your brain will keep what it needs. Even when you fall asleep, your mind can still hear and learn. This is the beauty of sleep. Learning the language becomes familiar without you forcing it. So, lie back, feel your body relax into the bed, and listen to my voice. The sentences will take you through daily life, travel, emotions, work, nature, and more. Every word is here to help you grow in English, step by gentle step. Are you ready? Let's begin. 1. It was a quiet morning, and the sun was just starting to rise over the hills. Let's break that down. The word quiet means with little or no noise. For example, a library is usually quiet. The phrase starting to rise means beginning to go up. The sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening. 2. She wrapped a soft blanket around her shoulders and stepped onto the balcony. Here's what that means. Wrapped means to put something around yourself. For example, you can wrap a scarf around your neck. Balcony is a small platform outside a building, often with a railing, where you can stand. 3. The smell of fresh bread drifted from the bakery across the street. Let's look at it more closely. Drifted means moved slowly through the air. Smoke can drift, and so can smells. Bakery is a shop where bread, cakes, and pastries are made and sold. 4. A gentle breeze touched her face as she watched the clouds move. Here's a quick explanation. Breeze means a light wind. For example, you might feel a breeze by the sea. Touched here means lightly came into contact with, not a strong push. 5. He carried a small suitcase, ready for a weekend trip to the coast. Let me explain that. Suitcase is a box-shaped bag used for carrying clothes when traveling. Coast means the land next to the sea or ocean. 6. The children laughed as they chased each other through the park. Let's go through it step by step. Laughed means made a happy sound when something is funny or joyful. Chased means ran after someone or something to catch them. 7. She poured hot tea into a cup and added a spoonful of honey. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Poured means made liquid flow from one container to another. For example, you pour water into a glass. Spoonful means the amount that fits in a spoon. 8. A bright red bus stopped at the corner, and passengers stepped out. Let's break that down. Passengers are people who travel in a vehicle but are not driving it. Corner means the place where two streets meet. 9. The cat stretched lazily in the warm sunlight. Here's a quick explanation. Stretched means extended your body or limbs to relax. People stretch after waking up. Lazily means slowly and without effort. 10. They walked hand in hand along the quiet riverbank. Let's look at it more closely. Hand in hand means holding each other's hands. Riverbank is the land along the side of a river. 11. A soft rain began to fall, making tiny ripples in the pond. Let me explain that. Ripples are small waves on the surface of water. When you drop a stone into a pond, you see ripples. Pond is a small area of still water, smaller than a lake. 12. She opened an old book, and the pages smelled faintly of vanilla. Here's a quick explanation. Faintly means only a little, not strong. A faint sound is soft. A faint smell is light. Vanilla is a sweet flavor often used in desserts. 13. The streetlights glowed softly in the evening mist. Let's go through it step by step. Glowed means gave off a steady light, not too bright. Mist is a light fog made of tiny drops of water in the air. 14. He whistled a cheerful tune as he walked to work. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Whistled means made a musical sound by blowing air through your lips. Tune is a melody, a series of musical notes you can hum or sing. 15. The cafe was busy, but there was one quiet table in the corner. Let's look at it more closely. Cafe is a small restaurant where you can buy drinks and light meals. Corner here means the far side of a room or space. 16. She lit a candle, and the warm light filled the room. Let's break that down. Lit means started something burning, like a match, fire, or candle. Candle is a stick of wax with a wick that you burn for light. 17. A train rumbled past, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Here's a quick explanation. Rumbled means made a low, continuous sound. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Beneath means under or below something. 18. The market was filled with bright colors and the smell of spices. Let me explain that. Spices are substances from plants used to add flavor to food, like cinnamon or pepper. Filled with means there was a lot of something inside. 19. He leaned against the wall and watched the sunset. Let's go through it step by step. Leaned means rested your body against something for support. Sunset is the time in the evening when the sun goes down. 20. The stars began to appear one by one in the dark sky. Here's what that means. Appear means to come into view or to become visible. One by one means slowly, with each one coming after the other. 21. The sound of waves gently hitting the shore made her feel calm. Let's break that down. Shore means the land along the edge of a sea, lake, or other large body of water. Calm means peaceful and without strong emotion. 22. He wrote a letter by hand, using blue ink and careful words. Here's a quick explanation. Ink is the colored liquid used for writing or printing. by hand means not using a computer or machine, writing directly with a pen or pencil. 23. A small bird landed on the windowsill and sang a sweet song. Let's go through it step by step. Window's sill is the flat part at the bottom of a window, inside or outside, where you can place small things. Landed means came down from the air onto a surface. 24. She folded the letter neatly and placed it in an envelope. Here's what that means. Folded means bent paper or cloth so that one part covers another. Envelope is a flat paper container used to hold a letter. 25. The mountains were covered in snow, shining under the moonlight. Let me explain that. Moonlight is the light that comes from the moon at night. Covered means having something spread over the top, hiding what's underneath. 26. A warm fire crackled in the fireplace, filling the room with comfort. Let's look at it more closely. Crackled means made short, sharp sounds, like a fire burning or paper being crumpled. Fireplace is the place in a house where you make a fire for warmth. 27. He tied his shoelaces tightly before starting his run. Here's a quick explanation. Shoelaces are the strings used to fasten shoes. Tightly means firmly, not loosely. 28. The flowers in the garden swayed in the light wind. Let's break that down. Swayed means moved slowly from side to side. Garden is a place where plants, flowers, or vegetables are grown. 29. She picked up the phone and dialed a familiar number. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Dialed means press the numbers on a phone to call someone. Familiar means something you know well because you've seen or experienced it before. 30. They shared a quiet laugh before saying goodnight. Let me explain that. Shared means experienced something together. Goodnight is a polite way to say goodbye before going to sleep. 31. A lantern hung from the porch, casting a soft light on the steps. Let's break that down. Lantern is a light with a cover, often used outdoors or when camping. Casting here means sending light or a shadow onto something. 32. The bakery displayed fresh cakes in the window every morning. Here's a quick explanation. Displayed means showed something so people can see it. Fresh means recently made, not old. 33. She wore a silver necklace that caught the light beautifully. Let's go through it step by step. Necklace is jewelry worn around the neck. Caught the light means it reflected or shone when the light touched it. 34. A gentle knock at the door made him pause his work. Here's what that means. Knock means to hit a door lightly to let someone know you are there. Pause means to stop for a short time. 35. They planted new trees along the road to give more shade. Let me explain that. Planted means put seeds or plants in the ground so they can grow. Shade is a darker, cooler area where the sun's light is blocked. 36. The river flowed quietly under the stone bridge. Let's look at it more closely. Flowed means moved in a steady stream, like water in a river. Bridge is a structure that goes over something, like a river or road. 37. He wore a heavy coat to keep warm in the cold wind. Here's a quick explanation. Coat is a piece of clothing worn over your clothes to keep you warm. Heavy here means thick and strong, not light. 38. A clock in the hallway ticked softly in the background. Let's break that down. Hallway is a narrow area inside a building that leads to other rooms. Ticked means made the regular clicking sound that clocks make. 39. The lighthouse guided ships safely to the harbor at night. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Lighthouse is a tall building with a light at the top to help ships find their way. Harbor is a place where ships can stay safely near the shore. 40. She smiled as the first snowflakes began to fall. Let me explain that. Snowflakes are the small, light pieces of snow that fall from the sky. Smiled means turned up the corners of your mouth to show happiness. 41. The library smelled of old paper and quiet history. Let's break that down. Library is a place where books are kept for people to read or borrow. History means events and stories from the past. 42. He placed fresh flowers in a vase on the kitchen table. Here's a quick explanation. Vase is a container, usually made of glass or ceramic, used to hold flowers. Placed means put something in a specific position. 43. The moon reflected on the calm surface of the lake. Let's go through it step by step. Reflected means bounced back light, like when you see yourself in a mirror or water. Surface means the top layer of something. 44. She carried a basket filled with ripe apples from the orchard. Here's what that means. Basket is a container made of woven materials, used for carrying things. Orchard is a place where fruit trees are grown. 45. A gentle laugh echoed in the empty hallway. Let me explain that. Echoed means a sound repeated because it bounced off walls or surfaces. Empty means there was nothing or no one inside. 46. He arranged the chairs neatly before the guests arrived. Let's look at it more closely. Arranged means put things in a neat or organized way. Guests are people invited to your home or event. 47. The cat curled up by the fire and purred softly. Here's a quick explanation. Curled up means made the body into a small round shape, often for warmth. Purred means made a soft, continuous sound that cats make when they are happy. 48. They watched fireworks burst in the night sky. Let's break that down. Fireworks are objects that explode with bright lights and sounds, usually during celebrations. Burst means broke open suddenly. 49. She wrote in her journal before going to sleep. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Journal is a book where you write your personal thoughts, feelings, or daily events. Before means earlier than a certain time. 50. The smell of coffee filled the cozy kitchen. Let me explain that. Cozy means warm, comfortable, and pleasant. Filled means there was a lot of something inside a space. 51. The candlelight flickered softly against the wooden walls. Let's break that down. Flickered means shone with an unsteady light, going brighter and dimmer. Wooden means made of wood. 52. He listened to the rain tapping gently on the roof. Here's a quick explanation. Tapping means making light, repeated sounds, like fingers on a table. Roof is the top covering of a building. 53. The path through the forest was covered with fallen leaves. Let's go through it, step by step. Path means a small road or track for walking. Fallen here means something that has dropped to the ground. 54. She wore warm gloves to protect her hands from the cold. Here's what that means. Gloves are clothing for the hands, with separate parts for each finger. Protect means to keep safe from harm. 55. A bell rang in the distance, marking the start of the hour. Let me explain that. Distance means far away from you. Marking here means showing or signaling that something has happened. 56. The dog wagged its tail when it saw its owner. Let's look at it more closely. Wagged means moved from side to side quickly. Owner is a person who has something or takes care of an animal. 57. They walked slowly along the shore, collecting seashells. Here's a quick explanation. Collecting means gathering things to keep them. Seashells are hard, empty shells from sea animals found on the beach. 58. The market buzzed with people talking and laughing. Let's break that down. Buzzed means was full of busy activity and sound. Market is a place where people sell and buy goods. 59. He hung his coat on a hook by the door. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Hung means put something on a hook or hanger so it stays there. Hook is a curved piece of metal or plastic used for hanging things. 60. The warm soup steamed in the bowl. Let me explain that. Steamed means gave off vapor or mist because it is hot. Bowl is a round container used for food, especially liquids. 61. The wind rustled the leaves high in the trees. Let's break that down. Rustled means made a soft, dry sound, like paper or leaves moving. Leaves are the flat green parts of a plant or tree. 62. She placed her keys gently on the wooden table. Here's a quick explanation. Gently means softly and without force. Keys are small metal objects used to open locks. 63. The old bridge creaked as they walked across. Let's go through it step by step. Creaked means made a long, high sound when moved or stepped on. Across means from one side to the other. 64. A soft scarf was wrapped around her neck. Here's what that means. Scarf is a piece of cloth worn around the neck or head for warmth or fashion. Wrapped means put around something. 65. He sipped his coffee slowly, enjoying the quiet morning. Let me explain that. Sipped means drank a small amount at a time. Enjoying means feeling happy because of something pleasant. 66. The shop displayed colorful lanterns in the window. Let's look at it more closely. Colorful means having many bright colors. Displayed means showed so people could see. 67. They rested under the shade of a large oak tree. Here's a quick explanation. Shade means an area without direct sunlight. Oak is a type of strong, tall tree. 68. The bakery offered fresh pastries every day. Let's break that down. Pastries are baked goods made from dough, often sweet, like croissants or tarts. Offered means made available to give or sell. 69. She hummed a soft tune while washing the dishes. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Hummed means made a sound with your mouth closed, often a song. Dishes means plates, cups, and other things used for eating. 70. The rain stopped and the air smelled fresh and clean. Let me explain that. Fresh means new, pure, or recently made. Clean means without dirt or anything harmful. 71. The golden light of the sunset painted the sky in warm colors. Let's break that down. Golden means having the color of gold, a yellowish tone. Painted here means covered or made to look a certain way. 72. She tucked the blanket under her chin and closed her eyes. Here's a quick explanation. Tucked means pushed or folded something in to make it neat or secure. Chin is the bottom part of your face, below the mouth. 73. The village square was filled with music and laughter. Let's go through it step by step. Village is a small town in the countryside. Square is an open area in the center of a town. 74. He stacked the books neatly on the shelf. Here's what that means. Stacked means placed things in a pile, one on top of another. Shelf is a flat surface where items can be stored. 75. The gentle stream flowed over smooth stones. Let me explain that. Stream is a small, narrow river. Smooth means having no rough parts. 76. She wore a hat to protect her face from the bright Sunday. Let's look at it more closely. Protect means to keep safe from harm. Bright means giving a lot of light. 77. The smell of baking bread filled the kitchen. Here's a quick explanation. Baking means cooking in an oven using dry heat. Filled means there was a lot of something in the space. 78. They sat on the porch and listened to the crickets singing. Let's break that down. Porch is a covered area outside the entrance of a house. Crickets are small insects that make a chirping sound at night. 79. A candle burned slowly, giving the room a golden glow. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Burned means used up by fire or flame. Glow is a soft, steady light. 80. The fisherman pulled his boat to shore before the tide came in. Let me explain that. Tide is the rise and fall of the sea's water level. Shore means the land at the edge of the sea, lake, or river. 81. The old clock chimed softly, marking the passing hour. Let's break that down. Chimed means made a musical ringing sound, often from a clock or bell. Passing here means the movement of time. 82. She arranged the fruit in a bowl, making a colorful display. Here's a quick explanation. Arranged means put things in a neat or attractive order. Display means something set up to be seen. 83. The warm wind carried the scent of flowers from the garden. Let's go through it step by step. Scent means a pleasant smell. Carried means moved something from one place to another. 84. He placed a gentle kiss on the baby's forehead. Here's what that means. Kiss means to touch with your lips to show love or affection. Forehead is the part of your face above your eyes. 85. The wooden floor creaked under his footsteps. Let me explain that. Footsteps means the sound or mark made when someone walks. Creaked means made a long, high sound when stepped on. 86. She sipped cool water from a glass jar. Let's look at it more closely. Cool means a little cold, refreshing but not freezing. Jar is a container with a wide opening, usually made of glass. 87. The garden path was lit by small lanterns. Here's a quick explanation. Lit means made bright with light. Lanterns are lights with covers, often used outdoors. 88. He brushed the dust off an old photograph. Let's break that down. Brushed means used quick, light movements to clean something. Photograph is a picture taken with a camera. 89. The night air felt crisp and refreshing. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Crisp means cool, fresh, and pleasant. Refreshing means making you feel awake or energized. 90. She wrote his name carefully on the envelope. Let me explain that. Envelope is a paper cover for a letter. Carefully means doing something with attention so you don't make mistakes. 91. The candle's flame danced gently in the cool night air. Let's break that down. Flame is the bright, moving part of fire. Danced here means moved quickly and lightly, not really dancing, but moving in a lively way. 92. He tucked a small note into her pocket. Here's a quick explanation. Note means a short message written on paper. Pocket is a small pouch sewn into clothing for holding small things. 93. The clouds drifted slowly across the moon. Let's go through it step by step. Drifted means moved slowly without much control. Across means from one side to the other. 94. She wore a warm sweater on the chilly evening. Here's what that means. Sweater is a knitted piece of clothing worn on the upper body for warmth. Chilly means a little cold. 95. The lighthouse beam swept over the dark sea. Let me explain that. Beam means a strong line of light. Swept means moved across an area in a smooth motion. 96. He poured milk into a steaming cup of coffee. Let's look at it more closely. Steaming means giving off steam because it is very hot. Poured means made a liquid flow from one container to another. 97. The children built a tall sandcastle on the beach. Here's a quick explanation. Sandcastle is a small building made of sand, often by children at the beach. Beach is the sandy area next to the sea. 98. She fastened her seatbelt before the car began to move. Let's break that down. Fastened means made something stay closed or fixed. Seatbelt is a strap in a car that keeps you safe while sitting. 99. The air was filled with the sound of distant bells. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Distant means far away. Filled means there was a lot of something in the space. 100. He closed the window and drew the curtains. Let me explain that. Drew here means pulled something across to cover an opening. Curtains are pieces of cloth that cover windows. 101. The stars shimmered above the quiet meadow. Let's break that down. Shimmered means shone with a soft, unsteady light. Meadow is a field of grass and wildflowers. 102. She gently closed the book and placed it on the nightstand. Here's a quick explanation. Nightstand is a small table beside a bed. Gently means softly and with care. 103. The soft hum of the refrigerator filled the kitchen. Let's go through it step by step. Hum means a low, steady sound. Refrigerator is a large appliance that keeps food cold. 104. He lit the fireplace to warm the room. Here's what that means. Lit means started something burning to produce light or heat. Fireplace is the place in a home where a fire is made. 105. The moon cast silver light over the sleeping town. Let me explain that. Cast here means sent or spread over something. Sleeping town means a town at night when everything is quiet. 106. She wrapped her hands around the warm mug. Let's look at it more closely. Mug is a large cup, usually with a handle. Wrapped means put around something to hold it. 107. The gentle rain washed the dust from the leaves. Here's a quick explanation. Washed means cleaned something by letting water flow over it. Dust is tiny, dry dirt particles. 108. He set the alarm clock before going to bed. Let's break that down. Alarm clock is a clock that makes a sound at a set time to wake you up. Set here means adjusted or prepared something. 109. The faint sound of an owl came from the forest. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Faint means soft and not easy to hear. Owl is a bird that is active at night. 110. The lanterns swayed gently in the evening breeze. Let's break that down. Swayed means moved slowly from side to side. Breeze means a light wind. 111. She poured cool lemonade into tall glasses. Here's a quick explanation. Lemonade is a sweet drink made from lemons, water, and sugar. Poured means let liquid flow from one container to another. 112. The sound of footsteps echoed down the empty street. Let's go through it step by step. Footsteps means the sound made when someone walks. Echoed means repeated because the sound bounced off walls or buildings. 113. He placed the basket of fruit on the kitchen counter. Here's what that means. Basket is a container for carrying things, often made from woven material. Counter is a flat surface in a kitchen used for preparing food. 114. The river sparkled under the midday Sunday. Let me explain that. Sparkled means shone with many small, bright points of light. Midday means the middle of the day. 115. She tucked her hair behind her ears. Let's look at it more closely. Tucked means moved something into a neat position. Behind means at the back of something. 116. The bell tower rang across the valley. Here's a quick explanation. Valley is low land between hills or mountains. Rang means made a clear, repeated sound. 117. He brushed the snow from his shoulders. Let's break that down. Brushed means cleaned or removed something with a quick movement. Shoulders are the parts of your body between your neck and arms. 118. The smell of fresh paint filled the small room. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Fresh means new and not old. Filled means took up all the space. 119. She smiled at the sound of children playing outside. Let me explain that. Smiled means turned up the corners of your mouth to show happiness. Outside means not inside a building. 120. The ocean waves crashed against the rocks. Let's break that down. Crashed means hit something hard and made a loud noise. Rocks are large pieces of stone. 121. He zipped up his jacket before going out. Here's a quick explanation. Zipped means close something using a zipper. Jacket is a short coat. 122. The garden smelled of roses and fresh soil. Let's go through it step by step. Roses are flowers with a sweet smell and many petals. Soil means the dirt in which plants grow. 123. She set the table with plates and silverware. Here's what that means. Set here means prepared or arranged something. Silverware means forks, spoons, and knives used for eating. 124. A single candle flickered in the window. Let me explain that. Single means only one. Flickered means the light went on and off quickly. 125. They walked slowly through the crowded market. Let's look at it more closely. Crowded means full of many people. Market is a place where things are sold. 126. The old wooden door creaked open. Here's a quick explanation. Wooden means made of wood. Creaked means made a high, squeaky sound. 127. The stars twinkled brightly in the clear sky. Let's break that down. Twinkled means shone and flashed with light. Clear means without clouds. 128. She poured herself a cup of steaming tea. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Steaming means giving off steam because it is hot. Poured means made a liquid flow from one container to another. 129. He tied the rope tightly around the post. Let me explain that. Rope is a thick, strong cord. Post is a long, upright piece of wood or metal. 130. The gentle rain tapped on the window glass. Let's break that down. Tapped means made a light, quick sound. Glass is the clear material in windows. 131. She placed the warm loaf of bread on the table. Here's a quick explanation. Loaf means a whole piece of bread before it is sliced. Placed means put something somewhere. 132. The clock on the wall ticked quietly. Let's go through it step by step. Ticked means made the regular sound of a clock. Quietly means with little or no noise. 133. He leaned on the fence and looked at the fields. Here's what that means. Fence is a barrier made of wood, metal, or wire around an area. Fields are open areas of land used for growing plants or keeping animals. 134. The candlelight made the room glow warmly. Let me explain that. Glow means give off a soft, steady light. Warmly means in a way that feels comfortable. 135. She gathered the papers into a neat stack. Let's look at it more closely. Gathered means brought things together. Stack means a pile of things on top of each other. 136. The forest path was lined with tall pine trees. Here's a quick explanation. Lined with means having something along the sides. Pine trees are a type of evergreen tree with long, thin leaves. 137. He pulled the blanket over his shoulders. Let's break that down. Pulled means moved something toward yourself. Shoulders are the parts of your body between your neck and arms. 138. The bakery smelled of cinnamon and sugar. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Cinnamon is a sweet spice used in baking. Sugar is a sweet substance used in food and drinks. 139. She hummed softly while writing in her notebook. Let me explain that. Hummed means made a sound with your mouth closed. Notebook is a small book for writing notes. 140. The street was empty except for a single parked car. Let's break that down. Except for means not including something. Parked means left a vehicle in a place and stopped using it. 141. He fastened the buttons on his coat. Here's a quick explanation. Fastened means closed or secured something. Buttons are small, round objects used to close clothing. 142. The children played with a red ball in the yard. Let's go through it step by step. Yard means an open area next to a house. Played means did an activity for fun. 143. She poured milk into a bowl of cereal. Here's what that means. Cereal is food made from grains, often eaten with milk in the morning. Poured means made liquid flow into something. 144. The waves rolled gently onto the sandy beach. Let me explain that. Rolled means moved forward in a smooth motion. Sandy means covered with sand. 145. He trimmed the bushes in the garden. Let's look at it more closely. Trimmed means cut to make something neat. Bushes are short, thick plants. 146. The air was cool and fresh after the rain. Here's a quick explanation. Cool means a little cold. Fresh means clean and pleasant. 147. She wore a pair of warm wool socks. Let's break that down. Wool is a soft material from sheep. Socks are clothing worn on the feet. 148. The old bridge crossed over the slow river. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Crossed means went from one side to the other. Slow means not fast. 149. The market was busy with people buying vegetables. Let me explain that. Busy means full of activity. Vegetables are plants used as food, like carrots or lettuce. 150. The wooden floor felt smooth under her feet. Let's break that down. Smooth means without rough parts. Under means below something. 151. He tied his shoes before leaving the house. Here's a quick explanation. Tied means made a knot to hold something together. Leaving means going away from a place. 152. The gentle stream made a soft, trickling sound. Let's go through it step by step. Stream is a small, narrow river. Trickling means flowing slowly in a thin line. 153. She placed a vase of flowers on the windowsill. Here's what that means. Vase is a container for holding flowers. Windowsill is the flat part at the bottom of a window. 154. The mountain peaks were covered in snow. Let me explain that. Peaks are the pointed tops of mountains. Covered means having something spread over it. 155. He stirred the soup slowly with a wooden spoon. Let's look at it more closely. Stirred means moved food around in a pot with a spoon. Spoon is a tool used for eating or cooking. 156. The dog barked at the sound of the doorbell. Here's a quick explanation. Barked means made a loud sound, like dogs do. Doorbell is a button that makes a sound to tell someone you are at the door. 157. She folded the blanket neatly and put it away. Let's break that down. Folded means bent something to make it smaller or neater. Put away means placed it in the proper place. 158. The shop window displayed colorful scarves. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Displayed means showed for people to see. Scarves are pieces of cloth worn around the neck. 159. The air smelled of rain and fresh grass. Let me explain that. Grass is the short green plant covering the ground. Fresh means new and pleasant. 160. He sharpened his pencil before drawing. Let's break that down. Sharpened means made the point of a pencil ready for writing or drawing. Drawing means making a picture. 161. The cafe served hot chocolate in large mugs. Here's a quick explanation. Served means gave food or drink to someone. Mugs are large cups with handles. 162. She locked the door before going upstairs. Let's go through it step by step. Locked means closed with a key so it can't open. Upstairs means to or on a higher floor. 163. The fisherman cast his net into the water. Here's what that means. Cast means threw something forcefully. Net is material with holes used for catching fish. 164. The clear night sky was full of stars. Let me explain that. Clear means without clouds. Full of means having a lot of something. 165. He poured juice into the glasses. Let's look at it more closely. Juice is the liquid from fruits or vegetables. Poured means let liquid flow from one container to another. 166. The wind whistled through the trees. Here's a quick explanation. Whistled means made a high, clear sound. Through means moving inside and out the other side. 167. She wore a coat with deep pockets. Let's break that down. Deep means going far down from the top. Pockets are small fabric containers in clothing. 168. The fire crackled in the fireplace. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Crackled means made small popping sounds. Fireplace is the place in a house where a fire is made. 169. The rain left puddles along the street. Let me explain that. Puddles are small pools of water on the ground. Along means in a line next to something. 170. She lit a candle and placed it on the table. Let's break that down. Lit means started something burning. Candle is a stick of wax with a wick that burns for light. 171. The narrow street was lined with small shops. Here's a quick explanation. Narrow means not wide. Shops are places where goods are sold. 172. He poured hot tea into the delicate cup. Let's go through it step by step. Delicate means easily broken or damaged. Cup is a small container for drinking. 173. The sound of the waterfall echoed in the valley. Here's what that means. Waterfall is water falling from a high place. Echoed means the sound repeated. 174. She wore a bright scarf around her neck. Let me explain that. Bright means full of strong light or color. Neck is the part of your body between your head and shoulders. 175. The train whistle blew in the distance. Let's look at it more closely. Whistle is a high-pitched sound made by blowing air. Blew means made a blowing sound. 176. He placed the letter carefully in the envelope. Here's a quick explanation. Envelope is a paper cover for a letter. Carefully means with attention. 177. The sky turned pink at sunrise. Let's break that down. Turned means changed into something else. Sunrise is the time in the morning when the sun appears. 178. She hung her coat on the hook by the door. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Hung means put on a hook so it stays there. Hook is a curved piece used for hanging things. 179. The market sold fresh fruit and vegetables. Let me explain that. Sold means gave something in exchange for money. Vegetables are plants used as food. 180. He picked up the fallen hat from the ground. Let's break that down. Fallen means dropped to the ground. Ground is the surface of the earth. 181. The gentle wind carried the smell of the sea. Here's a quick explanation. Carried means moved something from one place to another. Sea is a large body of salt water. 182. She sliced the bread into even pieces. Let's go through it step by step. Sliced means cut into thin pieces. Even means all the same size. 183. The fireplace warmed the cold room. Here's what that means. Warmed means made something warmer. Cold means having a low temperature. 184. He wrote a note and left it on the desk. Let me explain that. Note is a short message. Desk is a table for writing or working. 185. The stars reflected in the still water. Let's look at it more closely. Reflected means showed an image on a surface. Still means not moving. 186. She poured sugar into her coffee. Here's a quick explanation. Sugar is a sweet substance used in food. Coffee is a drink made from roasted beans. 187. The road was wet after the morning rain. Let's break that down. Wet means covered with water. Morning is the early part of the day. 188. He whistled a cheerful tune while walking home. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Cheerful means happy. Tune means a melody or song. 189. The room smelled faintly of lavender. Let me explain that. Faintly means only a little. Lavender is a plant with a sweet smell. 190. The lantern cast a warm glow on the path. Let's break that down. Cast means sent out light or shadow. Glow means a soft, steady light. 191. She wrapped the gift in colorful paper. Here's a quick explanation. Wrapped means covered something completely. Gift means a present for someone. 192. The leaves turned golden in the autumn Sunday. Let's go through it step by step. Golden means the color of gold. Autumn is the season between summer and winter. 193. He stacked the firewood neatly beside the shed. Here's what that means. Stacked means put in a pile. Shed is a small building for storing things. 194. The kettle whistled when the water boiled. Let me explain that. Kettle is a container for boiling water. Boiled means heated until bubbles form. 195. She set a bowl of fruit on the counter. Let's look at it more closely. Bowl is a round dish for food. Counter is a flat surface in the kitchen. 196. The clouds floated across the blue sky. Here's a quick explanation. Floated means moved lightly in the air or water. Sky is the space above the earth. 197. He polished his shoes until they shone. Let's break that down. Polished means cleaned to make something shiny. Shone means gave off light. 198. The garden was alive with buzzing bees. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Alive with means full of activity. Buzzing means making a continuous humming sound. 199. She poured water into the flower pot. Let me explain that. Flower pot is a container for growing plants. Poured means made liquid flow into something. 200. The clock struck 12 at midnight. Let's break that down. Struck means made a sound to show the time. Midnight means 12 o'clock at night. 201. He slipped a note under the door. Here's a quick explanation. Slipped means moved something quickly and quietly. Under means below something. 202. The riverbank was dotted with wildflowers. Let's go through it step by step. Dotted with means having small things spread over an area. Wildflowers are flowers that grow naturally. 203. She lit the lamp beside her bed. Here's what that means. Lamp is a device that gives light. Beside means next to. 204. The bread was warm and soft from the oven. Let me explain that. Oven is a device used for baking or roasting food. Soft means easy to press. 205. He spread butter on the slice of bread. Let's look at it more closely. Spread means put something over a surface. Slice means a thin piece cut from something. 206. The mountains were hidden by thick fog. Here's a quick explanation. Thick means dense or heavy. Fog is a cloud of tiny water drops near the ground. 207. She wore a dress made of silk. Let's break that down. Silk is a smooth, soft fabric. Dress is clothing for women or girls. 208. The sun dipped below the horizon. Here's what's happening in that sentence. Dipped means moved downwards. Horizon is the line where the earth meets the sky. 209. He closed the book and turned off the light. Let me explain that. Turned off means stopped something from working. Light is something that makes things visible. 210. She whispered a soft goodnight and drifted into sleep. Let me explain that. Whispered means spoke very softly. Drifted means slowly moved into another state here, into sleeping. You've done wonderfully tonight. You've listened to many sentences, and with each one, you learned and understood new words. You let them flow into your mind gently, without pressure. Even if you don't remember every word right now, your brain has heard them, and little by little, they will become part of your English. Learning in this calm way allows the language to feel natural, like a soft background music in your thoughts. Tonight, you've traveled through many scenes: morning sunshine, quiet rivers, cozy kitchens, and peaceful nights. Every image and every word has touched your mind gently. Now, it's time to rest fully. Let your eyes close, feel your breath slow down, let your body become warm and heavy against the bed. There is nothing you need to do except rest. Sleep will help your memory grow stronger. In the morning, you will wake feeling refreshed, calm, and ready to welcome more words into your life. Good night, my friend. Sleep well, dream softly, and let English stay with you like a gentle friend who never leaves your side.